Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's so good to have you here today. You know, being a parent, especially to these amazing little humans between 1 and 5, is one of the most incredible, heart-expanding journeys we can ever embark on. It's filled with so much joy, those first smiles, the wobbly steps, the hilarious things they say, but let's be honest, sometimes, it's also filled with, well, a little bit of worry, right? A little bit of uncertainty. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through social media, maybe late at night when the house is finally quiet, and you see a friend's toddler reciting the alphabet perfectly, or another little one already potty trained at 2, or maybe building these elaborate block towers that seem light years ahead of what your own child is doing? And maybe, just maybe, a tiny seed of doubt creeps in. That little voice whispers, "Is my child doing okay? Are they keeping up? Am I doing enough?" If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely not alone. In today's hyperconnected world, it feels almost impossible sometimes to avoid comparing. We see glimpses into other families' lives, often just the highlight reels, and it's natural to measure our own experiences against them. It often comes from a place of deep love and wanting the very best for our children. We want them to thrive, to succeed, to have every opportunity. But sometimes, without even realizing it, this completely understandable instinct can morph into something less helpful. It can lead us down a path of unintentional pressure, creating stress not just for ourselves, but potentially for our little ones too. We fall into what I call the comparison trap. This trap doesn't just steal our joy in the present moment with our unique child, it can subtly shape how we interact with them, what we prioritize, and even how they start to see themselves and the world around them. So today, we're going to dive deep into this. We're going to explore 4 common ways that we, as loving, modern parents, might unknowingly be putting pressure on our young children, often fueled by this comparison culture. We'll look at why it happens, what it might look like in everyday life, and most importantly, we'll talk about gentle, practical shifts we can make. Shifts that help us step out of that comparison trap and back into a space of celebrating our child's individual journey, fostering their confidence, and nurturing their unique potential at their own perfect pace. It's about trading that anxiety for presence and pressure for connection. Because ultimately, helping our children develop their intelligence and essential life skills isn't about hitting benchmarks faster than the kid next door, it's about building a strong foundation of love, security, and self-belief. Let's start with one of the most common areas where comparison tends to rear its head, those big developmental milestones. You know the ones: walking, talking, potty training, maybe even early counting or recognizing letters. These are exciting moments, absolutely. They mark significant steps in our children's growth. But the pressure surrounding when these milestones happen can become immense. Think about those well-meaning questions at playgroup. "Oh, isn't little Leo walking yet?" Or "Has Maya started talking in sentences?" Sometimes, even pediatrician checkups, while crucial for monitoring health, can feel like a test we, or our child, need to pass based on standardized charts. We see charts online outlining exactly when a child should be doing something, and if our little one is a bit later on the timeline, panic can set in. We start wondering if we should be doing more drills, getting special toys, or pushing them harder. This intense focus on the timing of milestones, often driven by comparing our child to averages or to specific children we know or see online, is the first way we can inadvertently create pressure. Why do we do it? Again, it usually stems from love and a desire for reassurance that our child is developing typically. We want confirmation that everything is okay. But the downside is significant. When we're hyper-focused on the when, we risk missing the how and the wow of their current stage. We might be so anxious about them walking that we don't fully appreciate the incredible determination they're showing as they master crawling or pulling up. We might push talking so much that we miss the richness of their nonverbal communication, their gestures, their expressions, the way they connect with us without words. This pressure can also subtly communicate anxiety to our child. They might not understand why we seem stressed or overly focused on a particular skill, but they can often sense our tension, which isn't conducive to relaxed learning and exploration. Furthermore, development isn't a race. It's a wonderfully complex and individual process. Children develop different skills at different times, and there's a huge range of what's considered normal. Pushing a child to achieve a milestone before they are truly ready, physically or neurologically, can lead to frustration for both parent and child, and can even sometimes backfire, creating resistance or anxiety around that particular skill. Think about potty training. Pushing too early based on comparison often leads to more accidents, power struggles, and prolonged training time. Instead of focusing intently on the finish line, what if we shifted our focus to celebrating the effort, the small steps, the unique way our child is navigating their developmental path? Imagine noticing the sheer concentration on your toddler's face as they try to stack one block on another, even if it keeps tumbling down. Celebrating that focus, that persistence, rather than just the completed tower, builds resilience and a love for the process of learning. It's about understanding that development unfolds. It usually can't be forced according to an external schedule dictated by comparison. It requires patience, observation, and trusting our child's innate timetable. Recognizing this milestone race mentality is the first step towards consciously choosing a different approach, one grounded in observation and appreciation rather than anxious comparison. And this awareness is key, because this focus on external benchmarks often connects quite directly to how we present our family life to the world, which brings us to our next point. So, we've talked about how that internal pressure regarding milestones can build, often fueled by comparing our child's timeline to others. Now, let's think about where a lot of that comparison fodder comes from in our modern world: social media. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok, they can be wonderful tools for connection, for sharing those proud parent moments, for finding community. But they also, by their very nature, tend to showcase the highlights. The curated moments. The perfect snapshots. We see beautifully filtered photos of families on idyllic vacations, children happily engaging in enriching activities, homes that look pristine even with toddlers around. We see posts celebrating impressive achievements, the 2-year-old seemingly mastering phonics, the 3-year-old scoring goals in their first soccer class, the elaborate, Pinterest-worthy birthday parties. And while sharing joy is wonderful, the cumulative effect of seeing only these polished snippets can create an intense, often subconscious, pressure to measure up. This is the second way comparison can creep in and influence us: the pursuit, or the perceived pressure, of presenting a perfect family life and a high-achieving child online. It's not necessarily about consciously trying to one-up anyone. Often, it's more subtle. It might be feeling a pang of inadequacy if our own reality feels messy or chaotic compared to the curated feeds we scroll through. It might be feeling like we should be doing more crafts, more educational outings, more structured learning, because that's what seems to be the norm online. We might start filtering our own lives, sharing only the successes and hiding the struggles, which inadvertently perpetuates the cycle for others. Or, perhaps more directly impacting our children, we might start staging moments for the gram. We might pressure our toddler to smile for the perfect photo when they're tired, or push them to demonstrate a skill for a video, shifting the focus from the genuine experience to the performance of it for an external audience. The child might start to sense that certain behaviors or achievements get more positive attention, and screen time from mom or dad trying to capture it, potentially internalizing the idea that their worth is tied to these performative moments. The harm here isn't just the unrealistic expectations it sets for us as parents, leading to feelings of guilt or burnout. It can also subtly teach our children that appearances matter more than authenticity, or that love and approval are conditional on presenting a certain image. They might become more focused on the external validation, the likes, the praise for the photo, than on the intrinsic joy of the activity itself. Imagine a child painting. Are they lost in the sensory experience, the colors, the process? Or are they aware they're being filmed, perhaps being prompted to hold it up and smile? That shift, repeated over time, can subtly erode the pure, internally motivated exploration that is so crucial for development in these early years. So, what's the alternative? It's not necessarily about abandoning social media altogether, unless that feels right for you. It's more about conscious consumption and mindful sharing. It's about reminding ourselves that we are seeing curated highlights, not the full picture. It's about perhaps seeking out more authentic accounts or communities that share the real, messy, beautiful truth of parenting. And when we share, it's about considering our motivation. Are we sharing from a place of genuine joy and connection, or from a place of seeking validation or keeping up appearances? It's about prioritizing the real-life connection with our child over capturing the perfect shot. Maybe putting the phone away during playtime, being fully present in their world, even if it's messy and imperfect, is the most valuable thing we can do. Resisting that pressure to project perfection allows us to embrace the authentic, unpredictable beauty of life with young children. This pressure for visible achievement, often amplified online, connects directly to another area where comparison can lead us astray: the push for early academic or structured skills. This is our third point: getting caught up in the early achievement race. We hear about preschools with rigorous academic programs for 3-year-olds. We see neighbors signing their toddlers up for multiple classes, maybe coding for tots, or specific sports clinics, or early language immersion. We might see posts about children recognizing letters and numbers well before kindergarten seems to warrant it. And again, that familiar worry can surface: is my child going to fall behind if they aren't doing these things too? We worry about school readiness, about giving them every advantage. We compare the activities our child is doing, or not doing, to others, and we might feel pressured to enroll them in more structured programs or start pushing academic-like skills at home earlier than we otherwise might have. The intention, as always, is rooted in love. We want to set our children up for success. But the potential downside of pushing formal learning or highly structured activities too early, especially when driven by comparison, is significant. For children aged 1 to 5, the primary work of development happens through play. Unstructured, child-led play is how they make sense of the world, how they develop creativity, problem-solving skills, social-emotional intelligence, and foundational cognitive abilities. When we overschedule them or replace ample playtime with activities focused on rote learning or specific skill acquisition before they show genuine interest or readiness, we risk stifling that natural curiosity and intrinsic motivation. Learning can become a chore rather than a joy. They might experience stress or burnout, feeling pressured to perform in activities that don't align with their current developmental stage or interests. Think about a 3-year-old who is fascinated by pouring water back and forth in the bath. They are learning about volume, physics, cause and effect through intrinsically motivated play. Pulling them away from that to drill flashcards because a friend's child knows their letters might interrupt far more valuable, self-directed learning. The pressure isn't just about academics, it can be about specific talents too. Pushing a child into a sport or instrument very early because another child shows aptitude can backfire if our own child isn't interested or ready. Instead of fostering a love for the activity, it can create resistance and resentment. The alternative here is powerful: trust in the power of play. Provide a rich environment with open-ended materials, blocks, art supplies, dress-up clothes, things from nature. Follow your child's lead. Observe what fascinates them and offer opportunities to explore those interests more deeply, but without a rigid agenda. Read books together, talk with them, sing songs, explore the outdoors. These activities are packed with learning opportunities that are naturally integrated into connection and enjoyment. School readiness isn't just about knowing letters and numbers, it's about curiosity, communication skills, emotional regulation, and social skills. All things nurtured beautifully through play and secure relationships, not through early academic pressure driven by comparison. Letting go of that early achievement race allows us to tune into our child's unique rhythm and interests, fostering a genuine love of learning that will serve them far better in the long run than any prematurely acquired skill. And this idea of tuning into our child's uniqueness is central as we move into our final point. So we've explored the pressures around developmental milestones, the pull of social media perfection, and the race for early achievements. These often focus on what our children can do or when they do it. But there's another, perhaps even more personal, way the comparison trap can manifest, comparing our children's inherent personalities, temperaments, or emerging talents. This is our fourth key area. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, or maybe even saying out loud, something like, "Why can't you sit still like your cousin Sarah?" Or "Look how easily Tom shares his toys. Why is it always a struggle for you?" Or perhaps comparing siblings. "Your older sister was always so outgoing. Why are you so shy?" Maybe it's about perceived talents, wishing your child was more interested in drawing because another child seems naturally artistic, or more inclined towards music because you saw a toddler playing the piano beautifully online. This kind of comparison feels different because it touches upon the very essence of who our child is, not just what they can do at a certain stage. Why does this happen? Sometimes it stems from our own preferences or temperaments. Maybe we're naturally extroverted and find our introverted child's quiet nature challenging or baffling. Sometimes it comes from convenience. A quieter, more compliant child might seem easier in certain situations. Sometimes it's simply an observation of differences, but expressed in a way that implies one trait is better than another. We see another child behaving in a way we admire or find easier to manage, and the comparison slips out, often without ill intent. But the impact on a young child can be profound. When we compare their fundamental personality traits or interests to others, the message they can receive, even implicitly, is "You are not quite right as you are," or "You would be more lovable/acceptable if you were different/more like someone else." This can chip away at their developing sense of self-worth. They might start to feel inadequate, unseen, or pressured to be someone they're not. It can create anxiety, especially in social situations if they feel they're constantly being evaluated against their peers. Think about the shy child who constantly hears comparisons to more outgoing peers. Instead of learning to navigate social situations at their own pace and developing confidence in their own way, they might internalize the label and withdraw further, feeling flawed. Or the active, energetic child who is constantly compared to calmer peers might start to see their natural energy as bad behavior rather than just a different way of being. The alternative here is a conscious shift towards appreciation of individuality. It's about recognizing and truly valuing our child's unique temperament and interests, even if they differ from our own expectations or from other children we know. It means understanding that traits like introversion/extroversion, sensitivity, intensity, or activity level are often innate. They aren't necessarily things to be fixed but rather understood and supported. It involves focusing on our child's strengths. Maybe the quiet child is incredibly observant and empathetic. Maybe the active child has amazing physical coordination and determination. Celebrating who they are builds their confidence far more effectively than wishing they were someone else. It requires us to adjust our expectations and our parenting approach to fit our child, rather than trying to mold our child to fit an external comparison. This might mean providing more quiet downtime for an introverted child after a busy outing, or creating safe opportunities for an active child to burn energy. It means using descriptive language rather than comparative labels. Instead of "Don't be shy, perhaps try," it looks like you're observing everything before you jump in. That's thoughtful. It's about sending the clear message: I see you, I love you, and I value you exactly as you are. This acceptance is one of the greatest gifts we can give our children, fostering a deep sense of security and self-belief that comparison can so easily erode. So, as we've journeyed through these 4 areas, the milestone race, social media perfection, the early achievement push, and comparing personalities, the common thread is clear. The comparison trap, however innocently we stumble into it, pulls our focus away from the unique, amazing child right in front of us. It steals the joy from the present moment and can place unintended pressure on their little shoulders, potentially impacting their confidence, their love of learning, and their sense of self. Stepping out of this trap isn't about never noticing differences or never feeling a twinge of worry again. We're human. It's about cultivating awareness. It's about consciously choosing to redirect our focus back to our own child's individual journey, celebrating their unique pace, their specific interests, their inherent personality. It's about trusting their developmental path and trusting our connection with them. Remember, parenting in this modern age comes with unique pressures, and it's okay to acknowledge that. But we hold the power to shift the narrative within our own families. Small changes in perspective, in the way we talk, and where we place our attention, can make a huge difference. It's about choosing connection over comparison, presence over pressure, and celebrating progress over perceived perfection. Your child doesn't need to be like anyone else, they just need the space, support, and acceptance to become fully themselves. You are doing an amazing job navigating this journey, and your love and presence are the most important ingredients for your child's thriving. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Is the comparison trap something you've experienced? How do you try to navigate it? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below. Let's support each other in this. And if you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more parents who might need this message. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos packed with practical tips and inspiration for raising happy, confident, and capable kids. Thank you so much for watching, for being part of this community. Keep celebrating your incredible child, just as they are. See you in the next video.